Hey guys, welcome back, it's Ripe again. In today's video, a neighbor sued me because my classic Mercedes supposedly devalued her property and prevented people from buying her house. She then destroyed my beloved car. Here is what happened. Let's dive right into the story. You might think it would be the most magnificent thing in the world to find out that your horrible neighbor is moving away. Well, that's what I felt when I found out that the woman living next door to me, who I will call Karen, was selling her house. This woman was a pain in the side to every single person living on the block. I'm talking about complaining about noise that did not exist, leaves blowing onto her property during a windstorm, and one time somebody's lawn being too nice. She took it as them trying to make hers look bad and her look stupid. I did not actually find out that she was moving from her directly, but instead from a letter her lawyer delivered. In that letter, she threatened to sue me for the worth of her house because I was causing it to be unsellable. Her reasoning was that buyers were looking at the prospective house and then seeing my classic car in front of my house. Somehow this was causing them so much distress that they would leave before the tour was over and not put an offer on the house, making sure to use words of my car being an eyesore and it being dilapidated. Now, I could understand to a degree if I had a junker parked in front of my house or a car with a loud engine that was popping off and upsetting people coming to tour the house. None of that was the case because my car was not only in perfect working condition, but a nice car as well. I had a Mercedes-Benz 600 parked out there and she had the nerve to not only complain, but threaten to sue me about it. I could have just ignored it and let her sue me because she had no case. I did not go that route and instead when I saw her outside, I confronted her about it. Me? Who the hell are you trying to kid with that letter you sent me? Karen, you have no right to devalue my house by keeping that old ugly thing out front. Me, if people don't want to buy your house, it has nothing to do with me. Karen, they take one look at your car and decide to walk away. I'm gonna need to lower the price if I want a buyer. Me, first of all, you're talking to a man that doesn't care about your house profit. Not after all the crap you've pulled. Second, maybe they don't want to buy the house because nobody can bear being in a room with you for more than 5 minutes. Karen, how dare you speak to me that way? I have a fantastic house that would sell for a lot more if it wasn't for you. You need to get rid of that stupid thing or you're gonna be sued. Me, sue me for what exactly? Parking my fully legal car in front of my own home? My car being ugly according to you? Yeah, good luck with that. Maybe next you can sue somebody for wearing shoes you don't like or being too short. She did not appreciate my comments, but after all this time I had it with her crap. If she had to sell for less, she was either asking for too much or giving off bad impressions to the buyers. Just out of curiosity, the next time I saw people parking outside and going to look at her house, I listened in through an open window. When the people walked out, I heard them whispering about the smell of mold and Karen seeming unhinged. Not a single comment about my car being an eyesore and being the reason for not wanting the house. Karen was still fixed on the fact that I was the problem, and more specifically my car was the problem. What she didn't know was that I had cameras on my property and some of what they could see was the car parked in front of his house. She figured the smartest thing to do would be going outside at night and vandalizing my car. I don't mean some little kid antics either, she was acting like this car personally caused every bad thing since she was born. The entire thing got covered in spray paint, everything from random lines to some very inappropriate symbols. She took a key to the entire car and even hit into it with a golf club. The tires were slashed beyond anything I've seen before. My car looked like it had been sitting there getting slowly destroyed for years and she managed to do this all in one night. Meanwhile, I was sleeping like a blissfully ignorant man normally does. To top everything off, she called a tow company, claiming there was a car on the block that was a total wreck. It was never moved and even made a false claim that raccoons were living in it. The towing company took one look at the car and believed everything she said. They towed it away to a junkyard and I was left in the morning in total shock that my car was gone. I expected it had been stolen due to its worth and went to check my cameras. That was when I saw everything Karen did and felt all the blood rush up to my head. I was steaming and did not even bother getting out of my sleep clothes before going over to Karen's house and banging on the door. Me, I saw exactly what you did to my car. If you wanted a lawsuit to happen, well, good for you, because you're about to get one. That and a police report filed against you for destroying my property. Expect my lawyer to send you a letter in the mail this time. I did not even let her respond before slamming her own door in her face and walking back to my house. I did file a lawsuit for her destroying my car and having it illegally towed off of the street. With the video evidence, I expected her to want to settle outside of court since there was no way she was gonna win this. Instead though, she demanded to take things all the way to court and made a complete fool of herself. She started complaining that my car was old and that meant it was causing her house to be undervalued. She even said that I should be the one paying her because she was not gonna get as much as she wanted from the house sale. When she got told that she was gonna be responsible for paying me the value of the car, she had the nerve and stupidity to giggle. Karen giggled in the middle of the court. Turns out what she thought was so funny was that my car would not be worth anything. She was asked if she knew what brand of car it was, and she said she did. She also claimed that only new cars are worth money and an old junk car like I had would only be worth a couple of thousands. Bragging that with the car gone, she would make way more than that on the house. I wish I could frame the way her face fell when she was told my car was actually worth at least $100,000. She started trying to claim that she didn't have that much money and would not be able to pay me anything. Her own comments bit her in the rear because they told her she said she was selling her house and going to be able to sell it for more now. Spoiler alert, my car being gone did not make her house sell for what she wanted it to. Even worse, once she sold it, she had to pay me the $100,000, meaning she had even less. She could have avoided all of this by just leaving my car alone and maybe fixing the mold issue in her house. And yeah, ripe stars, this stupid entitled Karen certainly got what she deserved. Never mess with the classic car of your neighbor. That is rule number 1. Either way, if you enjoyed the story, please don't forget to like the video and maybe even post a comment because that would help me tremendously. Thank you so much. And the next one is another revenge story. A few years ago, after changing jobs, I found myself in a new office with a new phone number. After some orientation, training and other new hire stuff, I finally get to sit down and do the things. I get my voicemail and answering machine set up the email, and the phone then rings. Good morning, Railroad Engineering. Yeah, when can I take the GED test? Sorry, wrong number. Click. Rings again. Seriously, when can I take the GED test? Like I said, wrong number. Bye. This went on for weeks, 15 to 20 calls a day, people screaming at me for not being the Adult Learning Center. One day, an epiphany. This is not the Adult Learning Center? Nope. Do you know the number? Check Google. I did. This is the number on their website. Oh really? A little Google foo of my own, and I dig up a few numbers and give them a call. They tell me that they don't maintain their website and there's nothing they can do about it, and it's not their problem. I'm just gonna have to deal with it. My favorite line of that conversation was, "What are you gonna do about it? I work for the state. You cannot do crap. Bye-bye." And you can imagine that bye-bye just dripped with the condescension that only hubris and decades of Karenhood can muster. Oh hell no, let's dance. The next day, good morning Railroad, when can I take the GED test? We give that on request, it takes about an hour and a half. Come down. Oh, awesome, how much is it? $10. Bring a pencil. We'll sharpen yours, but we cannot supply them. Budget cuts, you know. Nah, I get it. See you in a bit. Take your time. They don't like me telling you this, but if you get here before we close, they have to give you the test. See you when you get here. Thanks, man. See you later. Now, for those of you who don't know, the GED test takes a whole crappy day. It also costs upwards of $100 depending on the state. In the state that I was living and working at the time, it was around $200. As such, it was only offered at certain intervals, so as I was telling dozens of people per day that it was $10, took 90 minutes and offered on request, I'm sure that they were absolutely inundated with angry people with freshly sharpened 2 pencils waving their $10 bills and demanding the test that the guy on the phone told them they could come and take. Every morning I checked the website to see if my phone number was still on there. I also took the liberty of crawling around and getting the phone numbers for some managers. I was happy to hand these out when people called back to complain that they hadn't been allowed to take the test. Head back down there and ask to speak to random director and tell them that they called the number on the website and this is what they were told. It took them about 6 more weeks to change the website. For some reason, all of the manager's numbers disappeared from the website as well. And the next one is titled, Never Slash My Tires. For 2 years, I've been living in this apartment building. Mainly old people live here, but it's nice. On the 3rd day, I attached my bicycle, yes, this is the Netherlands, to the provided iron bars at the front front door and left it there overnight, common everywhere here. However, in the morning I find my tire slashed front and rear. I did not really think too much of it, maybe some drunk dickheads walking around at night and effing things up, but yeah. Anyway, I fixed the bike and just in case I keep it in my shed. Sometimes I forget and every time the next day I find it with slashed tires. I'm starting to suspect it must be someone living in my apartment building, since it happens more often, but still didn't give it too much attention. As long as I would park my bike in the shed, everything would be alright. This, however, does not apply to visitors staying overnight. So after the millionth time of hearing about slashed tires, also my roommate made the mistake and it happened to him as well, I decided to investigate it. I narrowed the time of crime being around 6:30 in the morning, so for many nights I set my alarm for 5 in the morning, get my bike out of the shed, park it at the front door, and my car next to it with battery packs attached to the dash cam. I'd go back to sleep and wake up again at 7:30 to find my bike screwed up. So, jackpot. Unfortunately, my dashcam was a bit crappy quality, and since this was happening at dusk, it was hard to see what was happening, let alone identify the person doing it. What I did see was someone coming out of the front door, standing around a bit and slashing both tires with a screwdriver. The mistake he made was putting the screwdriver back in his own mailbox. The video was too vague to determine which mailbox it was, so next day I went ahead and filmed inside the suspected mailboxes with my phone until I found the one with a screwdriver in it. I know, not legal, but yeah, so now I have a house number and a name, let's call him Female Slasher of number 100. I was determined to find out everything about this dude to blackmail the crap out of him, but could not find anything on Google. Also, I could not find anyone with the first name F. The guy I suspected, retired guy always walking around for no good reason, was wailing around that day. We always say hi to each other, but nothing else. I decide to investigate if it is him, so I say, "Hey, we always greet each other but never have been introduced, right? I'm Goose." And he responds with saying, "Nice to meet you, I'm the slasher guy from number 100. I didn't confront him now, I wanted to play this out right. I decided that I would want to make him sweat a bit. To start, I put up flyers in the lift asking all tenants to be aware of vandalism happening at the front door that people should pay attention to. Quickly, I learned that he was frantically removing these flyers from the lift, and I was putting them back 6 times a day. This was initially to make my planned confrontation have more impact and persuade him to just pay me off. One effect I didn't expect was other tenants now contacting me about their bikes being slashed for over 4 years already. This included scratching cars and more serious stuff, and apparently some tenants already suspected effing Slasher years ago and went to confront him back then. He, however, denied everything and they could not prove anything. One neighbor, let's call her N, decided to team up with me to get this guy. I showed her the video I took, agreed that it would never hold up in court because of the bad quality, and set up new cameras. Effin' Slasher was a clever guy though. I suspect he spotted the cameras and didn't do anything until they were not there. After many sleepless and fruitless nights, I decided I had to work with what I got. N already informed the police, knowing they probably wouldn't do anything but hey, and a couple days later I went to his front door. Knowing that he most likely committed the more serious things as well, and now having the police involved, me blackmailing him would not be a clever idea. I decided to have a recorder on me and not explicitly blackmail him, only insinuate tactically. During this talk I told him someone has been vandalizing bikes at the front door and it needs to stop. Initially he denies everything until I tell him that I have him on video. He wanted to see it, obviously I didn't show him, and eventually admits that he did do it one time, worst possible outcome for me. I tell him that I need to inform the other tenants about him being a vandalist for their own safety and will pass my video to the police. Unless, of course, I would be reimbursed for my 23 slash tires, which is around 400 euros. He gets angry and says that he would never pay me anything and told me to F off. Now I continue to spread the word to the other tenants that it was the slasher guy all along. In the meantime, the police decided to pay him a visit the next day because of the phone call from N, but he thinks it's because of me. Apparently, Slasher Guy craps himself and admits to having it done maybe 13 times. He promises to reimburse the damages being done and never do it again. So 1 week later, I go to his door to settle all this. Now I'm a lot more calm because he already admitted anyway, no need to carry a voice recorder with me. He opens the door and rages because I've been telling everyone about him, death threats and everything, F no recorder, but after calming down he agrees to paying the 400 euros. One condition though, I would have to happily greet him every time I see him, so there would not be any awkwardness. Eventually he paid everyone who requested money and has not done it anymore. The reason he did it? He thought those crappy old bikes make the entrance look bad. The next one is titled, I am not paying for that. First time posting on mobile, wish me luck. I work in a computer repair shop that also does computer upgrades. Our labor fees are $15 per 30 minutes, minimum of 1 hour, so a minimum of $30 for labor. This is in addition to any price of parts and such. A few weeks ago I had a customer come in who wanted to upgrade the RAM in his computer from 2 GB to 4. I quoted him the price for the part and labor, he agreed, signed the liability waiver and told him it would be ready tomorrow. Had a large queue of other computers to work on, fast forward to the next day, he shows up and I tell him his total. I will be me, he will be CS for cheapskate. CS, what is this extra $30 for? Me, that's the labor cost for installation. I had explained it yesterday while giving you the quote. CS, I'm not paying $30 for you to press a few buttons, take out the new stuff. I am taking my business somewhere else where they don't charge outrageous fees. For those not in computer repair, that's a totally reasonable labor fee. Me a bit peeved at this point. Yes sir, will take about 5 minutes. I proceed to remove the 2x2 GB RAM sticks and grab his old 2x1 sticks from our temporary storage. I close up the case and head out to face him. I hand him his computer while he is glaring at me. Then I pull out the anti-static bag holding his RAM and place it on the counter, with the sticks on top of the bag, and just look at him. CS, and what are these? I'm not paying your stupid labor fees. Me, this is your old RAM. I removed the new ones, and since you're not paying any labor fees, I'm not putting them back in. He proceeds to glare at me and reaches to grab the entire bag, not just the sticks. Me, oh no sir, the bag is ours, only the RAM is yours. He proceeds to palm the RAM, possibly damaging it, and walks out. If looks could kill. And the next one is another malicious compliance story, and it is titled, Customer was concerned. I used to be a pool technician. Part of my weekly service route included a local historical mansion. No one lived in the actual mansion as it was used for tours and stuff, but the groundskeeper lived on site in a maintenance shed converted into a house. She was different. She believed in holistic medicine and performed seances. And by the way, ripe stars, please correct me if I'm wrong, but a seance is, as far as I know, something like a ceremony or ritual where people try to talk to dead people. However, please correct me if I'm wrong, if I am completely off track here. Anyway, she also had a pet turtle that she liked to let swim around in the pool. The pool itself was a match for the house. Old, ugly and ginormous. Being that it was old and did not have the best filtration system, and that somehow in a huge meticulously maintained garden, this pool had zero shade, it required a good deal of chlorine to keep the water clear. I honestly hated dealing with this place because everything there was inconvenient. So summer came around, it is getting crazy hot, so the groundskeeper lady decides she wants to let her pet turtle go for a dip in the pool to beat the heat. No problem, I guess. The turtle looks kind of cute swimming around in the pool while I school stuff out of it. I go ask the groundskeeper what she wants me to do with her pet while I add chemicals, and she asks me not to add anything so as to not hurt him. Also not a problem, I will just leave a case of chlorine so she can add it when her turtle is finished. I come back the following week and the case of chlorine is still full. Cue me explaining to her that if she does not add the chemicals, this 100,000 plus gallon pool is gonna turn green. She tells me she does not want to add chemicals because it is bad for her garden and the pool, and that she can deal with the pool turning a little murky. So I cover my own ass by leaving her with another case of chlorine and some acid and instructions of when to add the chemicals. Come back the following week, the weather has gotten hotter and this pool is getting pretty murky. I added some water clarifier when the groundskeeper was not looking and left her with yet another case. They are piling up at this point, and she is billed for each ounce of chemical I leave her and go on my way. So I come back the final week, the pool is straight green. I cannot even see past the surface of the water, it is bad. I set my stuff down and go knock on the groundskeeper's doors. She opens it in a huff saying, yeah, I know, add the chemicals. My response, actually ma'am, I've come to let you know that I cannot work on this pool anymore. Our service contract explicitly states that we do not service green pools. If you would like, you can call our dispatch number and they will set me up with an appointment to come out and give you a quote for clearing out this algae. Due to the age and size of this pool, you will be looking at a minimum of 20 hours of labor at $90 an hour. I made sure to document every interaction I had with her and let my boss know every action I took with that client, just so she would not be able to turn it around on me when her bosses see the $2,500 bill she racked up because she wanted to let her turtles swim in their pool. And yeah, Ripe Stars, if there's one thing that I really despise, it is wise guys, or smartasses, or whatever you call it. To me, that is one of the most annoying personality traits you can have. Sometimes it honestly drives me crazy, and I'm not really a guy that usually freaks out, but some people can really make me rage with that. And with this, we have reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, please check out my endless playlist, where you can find thousands of hours of content. In addition, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel to not miss any of my daily uploads. Thank you so much in advance, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.